Hello and welcome to another Writerly Witterings. It's not a fasting day. Today is a day when I can drink whiskey. My daughter's pointing at her right thigh. I'm not sure why. I think she's trying to imply there's no dog here, so it's a peaceful, restful Writerly Witterings without interruptions from a hound snoring, which will probably relieve a lot of people. This is... Apologies for the squeaky chair, it is a very old chair. This is a second attempt to do a video on marketing and how to get out there. It's a second attempt because the other version we did was exceptionally good all the way through for almost 10 minutes, and then at the very end my wife bellowing for my son to go to bed because it was late sort of spoiled the atmosphere slightly. So we're redoing it from scratch. Here you go. Right, Writerly Witterings. We talk here about books and writing. Mostly my books because I'm that sort of a chap. But luckily, quite often I get people who interrupt my work and ask me questions, which is very fortunate because otherwise I wouldn't know what the hell to be talking about on these videos. Cheers. But one nice lady just recently asked me and Robin Young and a few others, how should authors go and market their work? And I thought that's actually a very interesting one, and I need to rethink what I'm doing, so I'll think about it while inventing a little video for her. Now, there's two basic aspects in publishing terms, there are anyway. You've got marketing and you've got publicity, PR. And the difference between the two, I think, in publishing terms, is marketing is the stuff that they pay for, publicity is the stuff they can get for free. So if they have to buy adverts in newspapers, that's all marketing. But if they can get a journalist to be interested and write an article about an author or the latest book or something, then that's publicity. Nah. When you're a writer, it really makes very little difference looking between the two. Basically, all you're trying to do as a writer, as an independent or as a published writer, is to get interest out there for what you've done. And obviously you would expect that there'd be a lot of interest out there because you're an author, for God's sake. It's clearly very important that people can see what you've produced because they will be as fascinated by it as you are. Except, of course, most people who run the news media, the newspapers, the BBC, actually most of them probably don't read anymore because they just look at things on iPads and Apple iPhones. So you have to design something that's going to jerk them out of the present day and make them want to write something about you, make them want to put something on about you onto the TV. And it's a problem because take this year, we've got difficulties in the Ukraine, we've got all the arguments with Russia, we've got Greece falling apart again. There's always a number of different things that get in the way of the news media trying to use whatever you're trying to tell them. Yes, I've got a brilliant new book out. Fascinating. Have you seen that there's a nuclear war starting? Yeah. Makes it a bit difficult. So the only thing you can do is try to be persistent and try to get over the hurdle, which is the news and all the other things getting in the way. When I started, I made use of every friend I had. So one guy we knew ran his own little print shop, and he decided to help us, bless him, by producing bookmarks. In fact, there's a few here still. Extremely elegant they were. A quick summary of the book on the front with a picture, and on the back a series of pictures about the previous books in the series with a series of quotes as well. Excellent, very easy to do, and he charged us nothing for them because he did them when he was doing other work. He printed these around the edge of the other work that he was being paid for, so it actually cost him nothing in terms of cardboard and printing. That was a good deal. That worked really well. I found, talking to the manager at Waterstones, apparently if they gave away one of those bookmarks with every book they sold that was not by me, my sales increased by 5 times. So it did work. It was very, very successful. There were other things that we did. I went in to give a brilliant interview with the BBC. It was a superb interview. I was introduced to Janet Kipling, who asked me to sit down and talk about my first book, and I started burbling and looking extremely ridiculous after only about 10 minutes, because she asked me about someone and I didn't know who it was she was talking about. I thought it was somebody who was in the news that day, and I said, I haven't seen the papers or anything. And she giggled and asked me about this person again, and then pointed out it was one of the lead characters in my first book. That was slightly embarrassing, but to my credit, I had written 2 other books in the meantime, and I'd also written the synopses for 3 more. My daughter is now tittering in the background. Hey ho. So that's one thing you can do. Use any friend you can. If you've got friends who are journalists, that helps no end. Another thing I used to do, because I used to be a salesman, so I'm quite used to this sort of concept, I designed quite a lot of mail shots. I wrote mail shots to literary festivals. I wrote mail shots to journalists, newspapers, basically anything I could think of. That worked very nicely, but it's very expensive writing mail shots now. You can send out an email much more easily, much more cheaply. However, that's also why emails don't work so well. If someone receives an email, it is very easy to hit that button marked delete. If you receive a letter, it makes people stop and actually look at it now, even more than it used to in the past. Literary festivals are great, but they tend to be very tied up now. It used to be the case that literary festivals were small, local events where people could go and meet genuine authors. Nowadays it tends to be ex-actors, retired newscasters, ex-politicians or criminals who are lauded and praised and pulled onto the literary festival circuits, and then they go around all the circuit for a year quite happily, and genuine authors who are trying to do things tend to get left out of that, probably because they don't earn anything like as much in advances. The publishers won't want to push them because they want to push the most expensive books they've had, so they'll push the books where they've had to pay the most to a celebrity of some sort to get the books out. The mid-listers and so on tend not to get involved in that. So it's difficult trying to get into literary festivals. By all means try. If you've got a small local one, that's a good place to start. But the most important thing, I think, which most people do tend to forget about, is libraries. I mean, you earn as much now from a library loan, 6 to 7p, as you do from a book sold in the States on Amazon. In fact, you'll earn more than a book sold in the States on Amazon. Amazon will demand an 80% discount normally, so you can work out the sums for yourself. But go to the libraries and you will find that librarians are incredibly enthusiastic, hugely keen. They want as many authors to come in as they can possibly get, because authors bring in readers and they love having readers in. A couple of weeks ago I went off with a good friend of mine now, James Burge. We did 2 events together, and I did a separate event myself. We went to Flitwick first in Bedfordshire, and then I did an afternoon lunch session at St John's Wood, and followed that with both of us again at Chiswick. Brilliant, brilliant events. They got 50 people into each of them, so we met 150 odd people who were all very keen, and quite a few of them bought books. So this does work. It could have been to do with the fact that we called our talk Sex, Violence and Love in the Middle Ages, but that first word always does pull in an audience. Strange people, readers. But hey ho, that works. It was expensive. You've got to recognise there is a downside to going out and giving talks. For example, 3 talks, 3 libraries, that cost me about 4 days of work, because I had to write the speeches beforehand, I had to prepare for them, I had to travel for quite a long time. So it's expensive, but it is worthwhile, and it gets you out of the house. That's good. Okay, this is a very small camera, and it will only cope with so much time on recording. Never mind. So, coming back, the last thing is try to interest journalists. Now, as an example, last year for me was particularly rubbish. I had a new book to push, which was the start of a new trilogy, and if I say so myself, it's a bloody good book. I thoroughly recommend you go and buy it. It's called Fields of Glory, and it's out from Simon & Schuster either on electronic versions of book or the real thing. Find one, buy one. Don't get it second hand. I don't approve of such things. But trying to interest people in the idea of a troop of archers, a vingtaine, effectively a platoon of archers, marching along the muddy battlefields of France, going towards Crécy, I thought would be quite good in 2014, 100 years after the start of the First World War, because it was about a platoon of soldiers in effect. Unfortunately, no one else seemed to think so, and all of the news media, the newspapers, everything else was so flooded, inundated with stories about the First World War that no one bothered to look at my new series, sadly. So this is a problem. I have heard people, Val McDermid for example, always writes one scene in her book which she can use as a reading. She writes it very specifically as a reading, so it's a sales device. So one chapter in each of her books will be specifically something that she can then present on a platform somewhere. I tend not to do that. I will prefer, if I can't find a piece that fits into the book automatically, then I'll write a short story around the book and try to involve the characters that way. In fact, with Fields of Glory there is a short story coming out electronically fairly soon on Amazon, so keep your eyes open for that if you want it. But 2014 was bad for me in terms of marketing and publicity because I just basically could not get anything at all. So it's a good idea to surf the news. Just keep an eye out for what's happening in the news, and then you can either release information about yourself on the news, or find something about your book that relates to the news and push that out towards the journalists. That may get you a bit more good luck. Now of course there's always Facebook and Twitter and the electronic hoojits that hang around there. I am very nervous about Facebook and Twitter because they're the sort of things that you've got a screen in front of you, you're typing away and you think, well, I'll just take 5 minutes off and look at Facebook or Twitter or Sue or Ello or any of these other flaming things, and the trouble is you then realise 4 hours later you've done no work at all that day. They are tools and you must treat them as tools and not treat them as little conversational pieces that you can enjoy all day every day, because if you do that you are not a writer, because you won't be writing. If you want to use Twitter and Facebook, you need to be absolutely disciplined. I find that I will go onto Twitter first thing in the morning before 9 o'clock, because after 9 o'clock there's not many people on it anyway. You want to get people before they get to work. I will have a look at lunchtime. I will look again at about 5:30 and start putting comments out at about 5:30, because that's when America wakes up. But for the rest of the time I am working at my desk and I'll be working flat out. I tend to work in 1 hour bursts. I've got other videos on how I work, I won't go into that now. But if you're going to use Twitter or Facebook, allow yourself a set amount of time at set times during the day. Do not just dip in and out, because therein lies a huge risk, which is you'll end up with no book, no marketing or anything else. If you're going to use Twitter or Facebook, make sure it's personal. Just throwing up announcements that you've got a book out isn't really going to hack it. On the other hand, you do need to put up announcements of your books, that's the whole reason for it's there, but while doing it, involve yourself in conversations, get to know other people on Twitter. I've found as a result of such things that, for example, last year I was invited out to America as the international guest of honour to talk to the Canadian Crime Writers of Canada. Wonderful, wonderful event, really good weekend. That only really came about because of interacting with people on the internet. So there are lots of things there. I think that I've given you quite a few ideas, hopefully. It is very difficult. It is incredibly frustrating when you think up a really good article, you think up a really good idea, you put it out and nobody responds. But that is sadly life. And the only thing you can do is be persistent. Be focused, be persistent, be absolutely dedicated to supporting your work, because that's what you're doing, and hopefully you'll get lucky. It is all very difficult right now. You are selling to a mass market. You're hoping that thousands of people are going to want to read your work. Sadly, it is difficult to get them all aware of your work, but with dedication, with persistence, hopefully you will succeed. So, positive note is, put in the work. And who was it who said that he only ever he was only ever in business lucky, but he made sure that he was very lucky by working extremely hard all the time. There's a message there in a very garbled, bad quotation, but basically all it means is that if you work hard, you will have more luck, because it's the fact of being dedicated, slaving away, that is what produces results. And writing is no different from any other business from that point of view. Just keep working and you will get the results. So, folks, say hello to the Tinner's Rabbit, or good night. And if you've got any comments, down there is the place where you can put them. Don't forget, if you like this, subscribe, watch the other videos, because I'm building up quite a series of them now. I've got over 50. Don't forget to share it with any friends or family who you think it could be relevant for, and other writers of course. And if you've got any ideas for other topics, for goodness sake, write to me. You can contact me with the email address, you can contact me on the comment section below. You can follow me on Twitter. There's various other ways. Do please let me know if you've got any ideas for other topics I can talk about, because it's very difficult to think up new ideas every week. And having said that, I think I might have a little bit more whiskey. Cheers.